What's up? Welcome inside a Monday morning edition of the Opening Line. Corey and Benny, right here, part of the Elite Fantasy Network. Benny, how was your weekend, my man?
And not too bad. We had some good weather. I did get a ticket though this weekend, Corey. I was driving my kid. Yeah, that kind of sucked. I was driving my kid to his travel baseball game, and it's a place where we never go. It's like 40 minutes away from me. So I'm using my phone as like the GPS, and there was some state trooper that pulled up alongside me and saw me do it, so he pulled me over, and that shit sucks. There actually may be a day where you're doing this show by yourself, because I think it's one of those court appearance required ones, which that sucks. I got to go there and just pay more money. You know how it is.
No, yeah, I know how it is. That definitely does suck. Now, let me ask you this. When you were pulled over, were your children scared?
My son was actually a little bit like, because the cop, I pulled over on the right side of the road. So my son was in the passenger seat. I was driving, and it's like a 3-lane highway where I got pulled over. So the cop came up like to his window, like on that side of the street.
Yeah.
So he was like sitting there, like all like up in his chair and like with his hands in his lap. I was like, buddy, we didn't do anything wrong here. I wasn't even speeding. That was the thing. When I got pulled over, I didn't even know. I was like, why did I get pulled over here?
Yeah.
And then he saw me on my phone. I was like, oh, all right, whatever.
It's funny because my children, Benny, are horrified. I remember a story. My son who just graduated over the weekend, graduated high school. Remember when he was a little guy, no more than 5, 6 years old. I was working at Sirius XM, and he had to get back to his mother's house, which she didn't live at the time. She didn't live not too far from Sirius XM.
Mm.
So are you familiar with Grant Paulson?
The name sounds familiar. That's like a senator, no, or something like that.
Nah, he's a longtime broadcaster. He started broadcasting as a child. He used to do the Super Bowl as a little boy. He would go to Super Bowl for the Letterman show. He's a grown man now. He ended up being a big time minor league baseball tout, and now he is he does the midday show on the Fan down in the Washington D.C. area.
Okay,
we're very close. So I was like, "Yo, can you run me drop my son off to his mother's crib?" And I remember me and Grant was in the front seat. My son was in the back. Like I said, no older than 5 or 6 years old, whatever. We stop at a light. My son looks over to Grant and was like, "Yo, the cops is over there." And Grant goes, "Don't worry, son. You'll be fine with me." Your father, maybe not so much, but you're cool with me. Right there. But Benny, I guess we start with I guess probably the biggest news, but it's not an on the field thing. It is baseball legend, you know what I'm saying? World champion, Boston Red Sox, David Big Papi Ortiz, somebody who's well loved in Major League Baseball circles, shot in the Dominican Republic last night in an attempted robbery. I knew he was in surgery last night, the latest. I know that he had to have I know he had some liver damage, pieces of his colon removed. So right now, from what they're saying, it's hard with this news, Benny, because it's international, that he is in stable condition. The person who actually did the robbing of Big Papi has been apprehended, and they actually have video of him getting beat down by some locals.
I was going to say, he got apprehended by the people that were there that saw him do it. I mean,
street justice, Benny, street justice.
And you know what? Sometimes that might actually be the thing to go about it. And apparently from what the news is saying this morning, this was some kind of plot where there are more people involved and other people are being, taken into custody right now as well. I mean, listen, of all the people in the world, like Big Papi is the nicest freaking guy in the world. Like everybody who knows him, everybody who met him, everybody in the Boston area loves this guy because
he's loved here in New York. And he's notorious to the Yankee fans.
100%. I mean, I'm a huge Yankees fan. I love Big Papi. You know, like when I heard this last night, I was like sick. I was like, oh man, I hope he's okay. Like I really do. So, big shout out to him. Hopefully everything works out well. I mean, listen, it's getting tough here, man. I got a lot of friends that are from the Dominican Republic, and they still go back all the time and visit. It has not been a good month for Americans going down to visit the Dominican Republic.
That. It's not the first event.
No, it's about the 4th or 5th. That's why I'm saying it's not the greatest thing in the world. But I mean, this is one of those things. I mean, when you're an athlete, a lot of these guys come from these Latin American countries, and I mean, if you've ever been to any of these countries before, it's not the same as it is over here. You don't have the same kind of protections. Celebrities, it's not like, he's dining at some fine establishment. The place that he was at is a place that my parents have actually been to. They went to a wedding down there like earlier this year because my mom heard it. She was like, oh, that's where the wedding was that we went to and all that stuff. It's a nice restaurant, but it's a place that like anybody can walk into and just go and have a meal. You know what I mean? So, hopefully stuff like this doesn't become the norm because
we've seen it with Latin American players before when they turn to their homeland. Hell, we've seen it with players here in the States when they turn to their home states or their home cities. You know what I'm saying? So definitely thoughts and prayers go out to Big Papi and his family. There's some reports that this thing could get interesting. Like I said, it might be a part of a scheme or something. It looks like the Dominican police may be involved also.
That's crazy, man. That's really – I mean, you know what? I really hope that's not the case. Yeah, I really hope that's not the case, but that's – it is what it is. You know what? If you're a rich guy and you got a lot of money and you really want to make sure that you don't die, America seems like a pretty good place to be right now.
not to mention the fact if you go to DR, go to the resorts, stay in that area, and, hopefully things work out for the best for you as you're there. Other big story, Benny, tonight we could actually be crowning a new NBA champion. There would be somebody other than the Golden State Warriors for the first time in 2 years, and it could be the first time the champion has come from outside of the United States in the NBA. I got to be 100% honest. All props and credit in the world go to Nick Nurse, Kawhi Leonard, and the Toronto Raptors. They are absolutely outplaying the Warriors.
Yeah, so we talked about Steve Kerr making the right adjustments in Game 2 and out-coaching Nick Nurse. And since then, Nick Nurse has had Steve Kerr's number. Again, I mean, the Warriors are incredibly banged up. That has a lot to do with this as well. But at the same point in time, the Raptors are playing great.
Yep.
I mean, even if Kevin Durant comes back tonight, I don't expect him to be 100%. And he's listed as questionable, so it's not like he's definitely going to play. But this Raptors team looks like they're pushing all the right buttons right now. So, Corey, I got a question for you, right? So, the Patriots win the Super Bowl, they go visit Trump. Like, if the Raptors win, do they go visit, like, Trudeau, or do they come visit Trump? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, they're not. I would be shocked if they even got an invite, to be honest with you, number one. Number two, this crazy, Benny, this is always a story after for the most part, you don't have – it's not really a story in the NBA because the champions have been the Warriors and their opponents have been the Cavaliers. Mm-hmm. You know neither one of those two teams are going. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In the NFL, you always figure if the Patriots win, the Patriots are going to go. Eagles a couple years ago sent a short contingent. With the Raptors, if they get an invite, I doubt they go. But I guarantee you, if they win the championship tonight, somebody will ask them the question. My guess is they will visit Trudeau, and they will probably pass on the visit to Trump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at the roster for the Raptors. I mean, the only white guy on the team is Marc Gasol, and he's not really he's not even white. He's legitimately Spanish from Spain. So I mean, I don't know how many of these guys would even want to go there and see President Trump, to be honest with you. So it is what.
That's it's the nature of the beast that we live in right now, Benny. You know what I'm saying? These things used to be so simple. Only a little while ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very, very short while ago. It seems like forever, but short while ago.
Right now, to win the championship, the Golden State Warriors are plus 400.
Good for them.
Not even no interest whatsoever.
Not even a little bit. Put it this way: if you think the Warriors are going to win, right? You want to make a crazy bet. What is Steph Curry for MVP? What is Kevin Durant for MVP? Because if they win, one or both of those guys are going to have to go off for the next 3 games, and you're probably getting better than plus 400 on them.
100% correct. I agree with you on that. Curry to win the MVP is 450. Draymond is 3,300. Kevin Durant is also 3,300. Those are a better bet if you're backing the Warriors right now. Tonight, the Warriors have been moved to a 1.5 favorite, underdog, with the implication that Kevin Durant will return tonight, or at least he's practicing and may make an attempt to suit up tonight. But Benny, it's a lot of talk coming out of Golden State that the teammates are frustrated with Durant because everybody else is out there busting their ass and giving their all, and kind of been no update on Durant. Do you think you get on there letting on?
I don't listen. I honestly don't listen to the noise. You know what I mean? To me, it's put it this way: Kevin Durant is a competitive guy. If Kevin Durant, and this is the NBA Finals, I don't give a crap if you're in the last year of your contract or not. You don't pass up a chance to play in the NBA Finals if you can play. You know what I'm saying? If you can play and you're good and you're healthy, you don't. You sit out the regular season if you want to prove a point, like Kawhi did or like Anthony Davis. You do not sit out the NBA Finals because even if you're a great player, as a lot of these guys know, you only get so many chances, right, to go play for a championship, to be in this position. If Kevin Durant could play, Kevin Durant would be out there playing, which is why I absolutely, again, I took the Raptors. I screwed up taking the Raptors in game 2 and saying they're going to win this game and it's going to be over. I lost money there. But the last 2 games, I've gotten plus money on the Raptors, and I've gotten the points on the Raptors. And I have made a killing in the last 2 games by doing it. So I'm sticking with the Raptors train right now. I mean, again, what'd you say it was? It's down to 1.5. It was actually, I think it opened at 3 or 2.5 or something. It was 2 most of yesterday, down to 1.5 today, which means that Raptors are probably what, minus 125, something like that.
I'm looking at the props right now. Hold on, let me pull up that page.
What's the money line for the Raptors?
124.
Yeah, I'll take 124 all day long on the Raptors money line.
No,
I actually, you know what? I even take the minus 1.5. Take minus 1.5 at like what, 105, 110, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that. The game is in Toronto. You know, again, even if Durant plays, Durant's not going to be 100%. And if you've watched these last couple games, the Raptors are just dominating the Warriors right now. You know, the only thing that's really changed for the Raptors, you got to see how, Fred VanVleet is, because he is a big piece of that team and a guy who plays good minutes. He took a shot last game. I don't know if you saw that, his eye. I mean, when he went down, it was like one of those things where he was down and a couple teammates came to try to help him up, and he was like, no, just leave me here. Like, he's a tough guy. When you have a guy like Fred VanVleet laying on the ground, blood coming out of his eye, just being like, nah, let me just lay here, like, get the trainers over here, it's pretty serious. So I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't able to play or if he's not 100% tonight either.
Some interesting props tonight. When the team goes home, we like to look at some of the role players. Kyle Lowry, not a role player, but he is 14.5 at plus 100.
So here's the deal. Keep an eye on the VanVleet news. Like, I like the 14.5 on Lowry anyway, but if for any reason VanVleet is limited or out or something like that, Lowry's going to be the guy who picks that up, because a lot of times VanVleet will come in and kind of play the point guard role a little bit, so they're on the floor together, but VanVleet handles the ball a little more. And then when Lowry's not in there, VanVleet's the other guy that runs the point for them. Remember, they traded DeLon Wright to Memphis in the middle of the season.
Hold on, I hate to do this, but this call is coming in twice. Is everything okay? I'm doing a recording. I call you. Let me call you back. All right.
This is what it's like, man. If you ever go to a bar with the fantasy exec, this is what it's like. The phone is always ringing. There's always something going on. There's always something going on in the background.
Son decides not to come home last night. Came home early this morning. 48 hours after graduation, he thinks he's grown. His mother's on the phone with me like, he got to go. His mother's like, he got to go. He's
got what, 2 months before school starts? When do they go? End of August?
They go in the beginning of August, so.
Oh, all right, even better. I got to be honest, man. After my senior year, there were at least 4 or 5 times my dad wanted to disown me that summer going into I understand where he's coming from, man. Not saying I condone it. You got to do your dad thing, but at the same point in time, I mean, as an 18-year-old kid who just graduated high school is about to embark on all the freedom in the world at college. I mean, you jumped the gun a little bit there.
Yeah, no, I get it. So, but like I tell them all the time, as long as you're not interacting with the police and you're safe, you know what I'm saying, and you make it home, I'm cool. But when your mother calls me, that's when it's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, that was the exact.
It's not his fault anymore. It's my fault now.
Yep. Well, that was my dad used to say to me all the time, like, listen, here's the deal. Let me know where you are. Even if you don't want to tell your mother, let me know where you are. Yeah. Because when she starts flipping out, I could be like, he's all right. Like, don't worry about it. He called me. He told me everything's okay, whatever. He's like, I'm not going to tell her all the details, but at least if I know, I don't have to worry. If she starts flipping out and I don't know, then I have to step in, and then you're in trouble. And I was like, that's fair. That's fair. I was like, that's fair.
So there you go. And I'm with your pops on that one. So, well, Benny, the fun never stops, Benny.
Hey, listen, man, I'm just going into it right now. My oldest is only 10, so and my youngest is 4. So the next 15 years of my life is basically what you're dealing with right now.
Yep. So that but like you were saying, I think Kyle Lowry is a good bet for tonight.
Yeah, and again,
especially at plus 100.
Yeah, I like him. I like him at those odds, and I'd like him even more if there's a chance that Van Vliet is going to be limited or out.
There you go right there. So you might want to get down with that train right there. That is the Toronto Raptors tonight in a big spot. Get a chance to win the championship right there on their home floor. If the Warriors win tonight and they take it back to Oakland for Game 6, then we can see some high drama coming up this weekend. Huh?
If it goes back to Oakland for 6, it's going to 7.
And if it goes to 7 and you have Kevin Durant in a one-game scenario,
That's why you take Kevin Durant for a couple bucks at plus 5,000 for the MVP.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So that's what we got right there. As far as the NBA is concerned, action is slowing up. Benny, you did any work for the baseball today?
Yeah, I got some baseball stuff down here. I got a couple of soccer things we can talk about here if we're looking for some bets. So you tell me where you want to start, and I'll throw some stuff out there for everybody.
Before we do that, what I want to do is we'll get to that a little bit later on. What I want to do is I want to talk about some second-year running backs and how they match up for fantasy football this season. Obviously, you know fantasy football season in full swing over at fantasyguru.com. You want to hop over there now, get the early bird discount as we get ready to prepare for the upcoming season. And, you know, your glory, your ride to fantasy football glory in 2019. Obviously, when you talk about second-year running back, you start right at the top. Saquon Barkley, normally going off the board somewhere either 1, 2, or 3 in that range. My thing with Barkley is, Benny, we know how great he is, how great the talent is. Now he's truly the only guy there. Eli Manning is getting worse by the day. Is there any apprehension on taking Barkley that early because everything else around him is such trash?
I say no.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. They've done a couple things this year. First off, as we know, you get rid of Odell Beckham, your other big weapon out there. I think that's only going to mean more passes to Barkley. As far as I know, Eli Manning's arm strength hasn't gotten any better, so we know he's not going down the field. You saw crazy amounts of checkdowns last year to Saquon Barkley to the point where he had double-digit catches in some games, double-digit targets in multiple games. For a running back, I mean, this is a running back who may catch 80 balls this year, Corey. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting the kind of production you get out of a high-end wide receiver on top of all the rushing yards he's going to get and the fact that he's probably going to be the guy getting the ball down in the end zone, to get the touchdowns and stuff like that. I have absolutely no problem with him. To me, he is somebody who should be one of those first couple guys that's off there. They made the offensive line better this year, or at least they've got some better pieces in there, so the line should be better this year. I mean, there's a lot of positive things. Basically, what the New York Giants are trying to do is they're trying to be the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
That was the idea right now is we're going to get rid of the passing game. We're going to concentrate on the running game. We're going to pretend it's the 1980s, and we're just going to ride this guy as much as we can. The one thing I will say to anybody who takes Barkley early, though, and again, I don't even know how this is going to work out because there's a couple guys that are on the fringe there. You want to have the handcuff to him because this is a guy who they could wind up giving 350, 400 touches to this year to the point where he may break down. I mean, if you're going to give this guy double-digit targets and still put the ball in his gut 15, 20 times a game, that's a lot of hits to ask a guy to take over a 16-game season.
His volume and his workload is going to be crazy. I definitely want to have some shares of Saquon Barkley this year. I think he's a player that can help you win a championship. Mm-hmm. And you make a good point about having his backup and stuff like that because you never know what can happen. Now, when his backup comes in, if that, God forbid, knock on wood, that does happen, when the backup does come in, you're not going to get the same production as you're getting. Saquon Barkley, obviously. You know what I mean? Because then at this point, the Giants are a train wreck. Well, they're a train wreck anyway.
But you're going to be getting his backup in round 10, 12, 13. Exactly. So for 10, 12, 13, the amount of volume that you would get if Barkley gets hurt from that guy, whoever it winds up being when the season starts or as it gets closer, that's really what you're banking on. The value that a 10, 12, 13th round guy can give you if he becomes the workhorse is something that you're not going to find from anybody else at that point in the draft at any position.
No doubt. So that's what you got right there when it comes to Saquon Barkley. And we don't have to talk about Saquon Barkley. Next guy's interesting, though, is Nick Chubb. We saw Nick Chubb come on towards the end part of last season when that Cleveland offense really got rolling. Chubb breaks off long touchdown runs. We're going to tote the rock a lot. You know what I mean? You got a situation where you do get Kareem Hunt coming in later on in the season to join that backfield. To me, Benny, it's like, okay, I'm cool with Chubb in the second round because people that's worried about Kareem Hunt, That's not coming to like week 10 or week 8 or whatever.
Yep.
My thing is, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. If I can get a good 8 weeks of Nick Chubb being the every down feature back, I'm rolling with it because by that time we're halfway through the fantasy season.
I mean, you're making a lot of assumptions here, thinking that Kareem Hunt is going to be a big problem for Nick Chubb. You know what I'm saying? Like, A, like you said, he's not going to be there until about week 10 anyway. B, this guy hasn't been a running back in the NFL for over a year by the time he comes back from when he got, let go last year to when he's going to actually play here. So it's not like he's going to step right in and be a superstar. How many times do we see injuries and other things like that happen? I have no problem taking Nick Chubb, basically. I think that if he starts dropping to the end of the second round because people are worried about Kareem Hunt 2.5, 3 months after the season starts, I'd be perfectly fine with it. If you could walk away with like a Saquon, Nick Chubb as your first two, that's a really strong running back pairing. Right now, I've seen Chubb going more at like the middle of the second round to the beginning, so you might not get him falling that far. But again, hopefully people overreact to this Kareem Hunt news. Listen, Nick Chubb towards the end of last season, he was a stud, Corey. He was a guy I was using a lot in daily fantasy, so I have no problem riding him to start the season.
One thing about Chubb is he breaks off big, long touchdown runs. You know what I'm saying? And that's a person that can win you a week by themselves. I got to ask you the question. Nick Chubb or Todd Gurley?
Again, I'm so scared of Gurley. I said this to you the other day. I'd rather have Nick Chubb.
All right. Next up, second-year running back, Nick Chubb's former backfield mate. Oh, look at you, Chubb, Gurley, and Sony Michel. How about that? It's Sony Michel, New England Patriots. Kind of banged up last year, but when he was on the field, he was productive. Obviously, the situation in New England, you know how those backs dictate. Right now, seeing Michel kind of on that 3-4 turn, I'm a Sony Michel supporter. If he's healthy, I think we're looking at probably an RB1. Low end.
I mean, listen, Tom Brady, as great as he isn't getting any younger. So the more he can lean on the running game, he's going to do it. The Patriots are a team that wins 10-plus games every year, so you expect them to be playing ahead. That favors the running back there. Sony Michel was the guy in the red zone for them last year. The only thing he doesn't do is catch passes. So you don't get the passes with him. If you're playing in like a non-PPR league, I think that bumps him up a little bit. In a PPR league, I think the 3-4 turn, somewhere around there is where you want him. I would have no problem with Sony Michel as my third-round pick.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with you. I'm a fan of the young man. I love the talent. You just want him to stay healthy. And I think you got to, like I said, I think you got a low-end RB1, definitely a high-end RB2 on your hands, at least with that being said. Next second-year running back, Phil Lindsay of the Denver Broncos, came out of nowhere, burst on the scene last year. Right now, we're seeing him in about the fourth round. I'll be honest with you, Benny, I kind of want to read in a little bit more to what they expect from Lindsay this year. If Royce Freeman is going to get an opportunity to get some carries this year, Joe Flacco being back there to start the season as quarterback. Lindsay came out of nowhere last year and was great. Now that he's on the radar, I'm like, I might want to see a little bit more, hear a little bit more as we go through preseason before I pull the trigger on Lindsay as an RB2.
I have no problem with it. I think he is clearly, and I think he proved it last year, clearly a much better running back than Royce Freeman. I know Royce Freeman was the guy they expected to be that guy at the beginning of the year, but I mean, Lindsay far and away took the reins in that position and, hasn't looked back ever since he has. So I have no problem with it. I think he's going to be the workhorse for them. He's a guy that, like you were mentioning with Chubb, he's a guy that can break some big runs every now and then. He had some big games last year, over 1,000 yards rushing. To get a guy like that in the fourth round, I am very comfortable with. So I have no problem with Philip Lindsay.
Give me one. Oh, just about to say, I'm out front right now. I'm about to say, why are you out front right now? Why? What's going on? Next second year running back. This is the guy who was, on heavy last year. He was good at times. Injuries cost him the season. And the thing about it is coming into the NFL, we were like, injuries may be a problem for him because of his upright running style. He runs like Tony Dorsett. Kerryon Johnson is a hell of a running back. I don't know if the injuries in the system in Detroit support the talent correctly.
Well, it probably doesn't. I mean, I'll say that right off the bat, is that it probably doesn't. They have done a lot of weird things in Detroit. They never really want one running back. It always seems that they have multiple guys that are involved there. But to me, Johnson is the most talented of all those guys out.
Obviously. Johnson, your game.
We saw some of those games towards the end of last season, And that's the thing. When I'm looking at second-year running backs or rookie running backs, things like that, I want to know how these guys finished more than I want to know how they did throughout the year, right? Because a lot of times at the beginning of the year, these guys didn't get their chance yet. But when you had a guy like Phillip Lindsay who got his chance, you saw what he can do with it. Towards the end of the season, I think Detroit realized, we have to give Kerryon Johnson the ball more because this guy is good and he can make plays and he can make good things happen and give us more balance on offense. So coming into this year, I expect guys like that to take that step forward. So I like Phillip Lindsay. I like Kerryon Johnson as well. Where's Johnson going in drafts?
Kerryon Johnson, the numbers I'm looking at right now for KJ is he is going in the middle of the fourth round as RB 23 in that range.
So I like Lindsay a lot better than I like Johnson as a fourth-round pick.
Nice.
To me, there's a wide gap between the two of them. But I don't think that –
on Lindsay last year, this is high praise for Lindsay, who essentially came out of nowhere.
I mean, I picked him up in one or two leagues I had in. I mean, again, I play in probably about a dozen leagues or so it's not like I drafted the guy or was really high on him. But why would you not have high praise for Lindsay, though? I mean, as a fourth-round pick, who are the other guys going in the fourth round that you're comparing him to?
Kerryon Johnson, Josh Jacobs, the rookie for Oakland, and Devontae Freeman is in that range also.
Devontae Freeman is in that range. But again, we don't know what kind of role Devontae Freeman is going to have. I would love to say that he's going to be the guy that gets all the carries, but that's never the way Atlanta does it. You know what I mean?
Smith does not really have any breakaway type talent, but you're right. Freeman's going to need somebody in that backfield with him.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the injuries are an issue with him as well. I mean, this is a guy that – I mean, the talent is amazing. I love Freeman's talent, but he's a guy that's always injured, so you got to factor that in when you're taking it there. I mean, Freeman may be somebody I'd put ahead of Lindsay, but I put Lindsay ahead of Jacobs, and I put Lindsay ahead of Kerryon Johnson. So to me, of those four guys there, the only one you could even make a case for, I think, is Freeman. And in that case, you're really talking about the injury stuff, right? Like that, that's really the thing you got to factor in is, are you willing to take that injury risk with Freeman?
Next up is Darius Geisen, the guy I was all over last year. Here's the thing with Geis, Benny. We got to wait to see how healthy he is.
100%. I think here's the thing, though, Corey. This is a guy that was going, third, fourth rounds last year in a lot of these drafts?
He was creeping. He was starting to creep into the second.
Yeah, I mean, and then, the injury happened and we didn't see him play. But if you liked him last year and you thought he was talented enough to be a second, third-round pick, you have to like him where you're getting him at his ADP this year. So, I definitely think he's somebody that's interesting.
He's going to be a guy to watch in camp.
He's a guy that could win. That could win somebody a championship if they're drafting right now.
Yeah.
Because if you do see, like you said, if you see in camp that he's healthy and he's running well, he's going to be drafted in August much higher than he's drafted now. If he's out there and he's able to run and he's able to play, this is a guy that could creep up into the second, third round. Yeah,
no doubt. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, you still got Adrian Peterson in that backfield. They held on to him, so that makes things even more dicey with that situation right there. Second-year running backs. Let's talk about some of the guys who did not live up to some expectations. Well, one of the guys that did not live up to expectations last year, and that was Ronald Jones in Tampa. Tampa still has a gaping hole at running back. Do you think Bruce Arians can say, okay, this is the guy, we're going with you, we're going to scheme it up to where you can become productive? Do you think he's a flop again this year? Or do you kind of think, let me see what he looks like in training camp? I think for where he's being drafted, he's a guy that's interesting, especially in, leagues if you're trying to go like wide receiver heavy and then hope to hit some home runs with some of these running backs a little bit later on. Like if you go with the, the no RB theory for the first 5 rounds or so, and then you're trying to get these guys later on that could turn into studs, that's kind of one of the things that you'd be willing to take a chance on with him. Listen, we know what kind of offense Arians runs, right? Like, there's definitely a chance for whoever emerges as the main back there to be a guy that's going to catch a lot of passes and he's going to get some carries, he's going to get in the end zone. So I don't think it's crazy to think that Ronald Jones could have a bounce back year. Would I be willing to kind of bet my life on it? No, I think it's still at best a coin flip kind of thing. But again, this is a guy that people loved his talent and were drafting him higher last year than
than he's going this year. So if he lives up to the hype this year that he didn't last year, which again, the guy was a rookie. A lot of times, you know, you need things to, in order to produce well as a rookie core, you need everything to work out right? Like you need to get your opportunity. You need the other guys around you to kind of fail. You know, you need the situation that happened with Philip Lindsay where, you know, things kind of fell apart and he was the only guy there and he got his opportunity and he stepped forward and he took it. You know, Jones didn't really have that opportunity last year. So maybe this is the year that he gets it.
I want to find out. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, is he somebody I want to target in every draft? Not at all. But is he somebody that I'd be interested in? You get him in the 6th, 7th round? Absolutely.
I agree with you on that one. I probably feel the same way also about Rashad Penny. What do you think about Rashad Penny?
I think Jones has more upside.
Okay.
But again, he's another guy that's kind of in that same range, you know? I mean, he's somebody that you look at Seattle's offense, I don't know how they score. I still don't know how they score. Outside of Russell Wilson, I don't know how they score. Like, they don't really have good players at any position. It's not like their offensive line is great, but they manage to put points up every game. So really what it comes down to is, do you think he's going to be the main guy? Because the main guy in Seattle's offense always turns out to be productive. The problem is since, you know, Marshawn Lynch, the main guy has actually been main guys because nobody's been able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
But when somebody's healthy, they do feed one guy the rock as much as they can. Yeah,
no doubt. So hopefully, you know, we can get a clear-cut picture of what's going on in that scenario right there. Also, probably finally, we spoke briefly about Ito Smith earlier. You're thinking, okay, he should have some kind of role.
Right.
He's not the most talented back, but it seems like Atlanta, you know, are fine with going with him.
I'm not touching him now, but here's the thing that will change my mind. If he ends up being the goal line back.
Exactly.
That's the thing that would change my mind. And right now, I'm not taking that chance. But if you start seeing in preseason or you start hearing things coming out, not even things about him, but if you start hearing that they want to protect Freeman or they're going to try to limit Freeman's, you know, touches or whatever, or something like that, it's almost code for Ito Smith's going to be the goal line back. And that would be the time where I start going and getting him because that is a high-scoring offense that should be in the red zone a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, like I said, with Dirk Cutter back there, we know how Dirk Cutter runs it and stuff like that. Dirk Cutter better as an offensive coordinator than he is as the head coach. He's another guy that you keep an eye on, and you want to read the tea leaves and see what they're saying about when it comes to Ito Smith. Like I said, it could be that perfect handcuff to Devontae Freeman, or could be a little bit more than a handcuff, depending on if his talent dictates that to him. So that's where we're going. Once again, fantasyguru.com. Get ready for the 2019 fantasy football season with some of the top cats in the business. But when we got soccer-wise, let's start with soccer before we close it up with some baseball.
Yeah, so there's basically two things going on in the soccer world, right?
Women's World Cup.
The Women's World Cup is one, and then the European really, there's qualifiers going on all over the world, but the European qualifiers are the ones that a lot of the books have numbers up for because, you know, they like to gamble in Europe. So there's going to be lines on it. There's going to be money on it. So we'll start with the Women's World Cup. I think there's only 2 games today. Both of the teams that I like today are like huge favorites, right? Like Japan's pretty good. They're playing Argentina, who's much better in men's soccer than they are in women's. Japan should win that, but they're like a minus 800 with the draw, like over minus 1,000 if you take the draw out of there, draw no bet. So there's not a lot of value there. Canada plays Cameroon today. Canada should win that one. Canada's women's team pretty good, but again, they're like minus 600, like minus 900, draw no bet. So there's really no value in either one of the ones on the women's side. One bet that I do like in the Euro side, though, Sweden's not a bad team, so I don't want people to think this is like a cakewalk, but Spain at minus 295 against Sweden, something I'd be willing to take. I like the Ukraine against Luxembourg.
Minus 295?
Minus 295 on Spain is one I like. The Ukraine is minus 600 against Luxembourg. Wow. I'm probably going to parlay those two together. You know, the other one that I like, Serbia over Lithuania. You know, they're a pretty decent favorite as well. What I like to do, I'm probably going to take combinations of like Spain and Serbia, Spain and Ukraine, Ukraine and Serbia, and you know, maybe like round robin those 3 together for like, I don't know, put like $50 on it. You wind up making, I think it's 3 separate bets. Something like that is what I like. You're not getting great odds on a lot of these, But
on a 3-team parlay with Spain, Serbia, and Ukraine, you get to that minus 185.
yeah, so I mean, even if you took all three of them,
favorites like that, it scares me though.
yeah, that's why I'm saying what I like to do is go with like a $50 round robin where you take two of the three on each one of the bets.
Mm-hmm.
This way, even if you lose one, you're still, you still got a chance to make some money on the other ones. And if all three of them hit, which could very well happen, you wind up having a decent day that way. So it kind of limits your downside risk a little bit when you do that.
Sitting up here looking at it right now. So yeah, it's still wow. That's tough. Like you said, you will end up winning some money. I don't know if the risk is greater than the reward. I got to play with it a little bit more to see what's up with it. But that's who you like today in the European.
Yeah, the biggest problem we have with the soccer right now, Corey, between the Women's World Cup and the Euros, is it's like the first round, right?
Yeah, so you get big underdog. Yeah,
you're having a lot of these. Like, it's not like you're gonna get any like minus 115, minus 120, or minus 115 plus 110. Like, these are all games that should end up with like 2 or 3 goals to nil. You know what I mean? Like, these should all be easy victories for a lot of these -5, -600 favorites.
Tonight, Major League Baseball, we got a short night slate. Monday is a getaway day around the majors, so a lot of teams traveling. We do have our first taste of the Subway Series this year in the Boogie Down Bronx tonight. Yanks come in at -200. Tanaka on the hill. The Mets +172. Yankees and Mets at the Boogie Down Bronx at the house that Jeter built. 9.5 is the total, Benny.
You said -172. You looking at FanDuel?
I mean, the Mets are +172. The Yankees are -200.
That's what I was going to say, because I was going to say I already took a little bet on Tanaka at -200 today in that matchup. Jason Vargas is trash, right? Yeah. Like, Tanaka's solid. Jason Vargas is trash. I wouldn't doubt that there are a couple home runs hit in this game. We talk about it all the time. Tanaka doesn't give up a lot of hits, but, if he's down in the count 2-1, you're getting a fastball down the middle, and it's, hit it if you can, and if not, I'm gonna go on. So
Tanaka strikeout prop 5.5 at plus money 100.
For who? For Tanaka?
Yeah.
Again, I didn't really look too deep into the strikeout props for that one. There is the strikeout prop I like today. Tanaka at 5.5. It's okay. It's not great. Like, it's what is it? What's the minus something?
It's even money.
Ooh, even money. That's not bad. 5.5 for even money. I wouldn't mind.
Also, even money is the Yankees team total 5.5 is at +102 right now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's one of the ones I like. I took the Yankees over the Mets for -200, and I like the Yankees team total over 5.5.
Here's the thing. If you want to hop in on this Yankee team total at 5.5, I don't know what your book is or what they're offering. You want to get in on it early as possible, because if people start to hit it, they're going to raise it to 6. And you're going to push. And you're going to push.
Yeah. What they've been doing a lot lately, too, is they'll just make it like an absolute horrible, like a -180. Like, they'll go like -160, -180 to just keep people from betting on it, because, you're basically not going to win any money in that situation. And also, keep this in mind, too, there is rain expected in the New York area today, so this might be one of those games that's in danger of getting rained out. There's a couple games today. Philly, New York, and Boston all have a chance for some rain and something you got to watch.
Let's go to Philadelphia right now. The Diamondbacks and the Phils. Phils coming at -140 total in this one, sitting at 9.5, Benny. Eichhoff and Clark are the 2 pitchers in this game. The Diamondbacks make a trip to Philadelphia, like you said. Weather on the East Coast could be a factor today.
Yeah, I like the over in this game. I mean, Clark's the guy right now with a 4.5 ERA, and his xFIP's even worse. His xFIP's over 5, meaning that, he's actually pitched better than the numbers say he should have right now. And then Eichhoff on the other side is like a 4.1 ERA with a 4.7 xFIP himself. So both of these guys are more than a half a run to a run worse than what their ERA says they should be. So, I mean, you're looking at 2 guys now with basically 5 xFIPs that are going up against each other. Very good hitters park in Philly over there. 2 pretty solid offenses, 2 pretty crappy pitchers. Whenever I see all those things kind of working together, the over is the side of this game I want to be on. I'm not really looking Arizona or Philly. I'm just looking for runs to be scored.
And then you go right there. Make sure you check out the weather before you hop in on that. Place where weather is not going to be a problem. The A's and the Rays down there at the Trop in Tampa. Rays coming at -190. The total in this one is 9. You got Charlie Morton and I believe and Anderson on the hill. What do you think about this one, Benny?
Yeah, I've kind of stayed away from it. I mean, I expect Tampa Bay to win, but at minus 190, I'm not really willing to hop on that because I don't think it's – I think the Yankees are a bigger lock over the Mets than Tampa Bay is over Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to take minus 190, minus 200, I'm going to take the Yankees today. But
the total just changed. It just changed, we're speaking, to 8.5.
What was it at originally?
9.5.
I mean, it's not crazy. Brett Anderson doesn't suck. He's one of those guys that's like, he's not good, but he doesn't suck. Like, he'll go out there and give you 5 innings of 2-3 run ball. And then Charlie Morton's pretty good. So, I mean, you could see this game going to the under. I don't really want to touch that at all on the total because it's just not something I think you can make money on.
Would you trust the Charlie Morton strikeout prop at 6.5?
No, because Oakland is not a team that strikes out a ton. They have a lot of guys in their lineup that, you know, are basically like solid hitters that are going to take some pitches and stuff. So I don't even know if, like, I want a team that has
the under is plus 104.
See, the under, I'd probably be more willing to take the under than the over, but really it's a good number because Morton is a high strikeout guy, so I'd probably just stay away from it.
No doubt. Miami and St. Louis, the total is 8 in this one. Alcantara and Michael Walker. St. Louis minus 136 going down to Miami to face the Marlins. What we got, Benny?
Yeah, I love the Cardinals here. I think minus 130, minus 137 is what they had it on DraftKings, but I just felt like that was too low a number. I would have expected it to be like minus 160 or so. So again, Michael Walker, not the greatest pitcher. Neither is Sandy Alcantara, really. But I just love that Cards offense, and I really have no respect for the Marlins. So I'm always on the team against the Marlins. So I'll take Walker minus 137. I think that's a good number.
Cardinals to win and over 8.5 runs be scored in the game is plus 230. The Cardinals to win and under 8.5 runs being scored in the game is plus 220.
If I had to choose one, I would take the over.
Really?
But yeah, because
I worry they might not score.
Who, the Marlins?
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the problem. Is like Michael Wacha is not that great a pitcher.
Okay.
Like Michael Wacha is a little overrated. So I mean, I could see this game being like a 7-3 or like a 5-4. Like, you know, there's going to be some runs scored in this game. And like I said, the Cardinals, to me, the best way to play it is the Cardinals. So I'm just taking the Cardinals, staying away from the totals.
All right, away team total runs at 4. You know, don't even like that.
Wait, away team total? So the Cards are at 4? I'll take the over on the Cards. I'll take that.
Yeah, that's at 128. So that's an interesting bet right there. I think I agree with you on that. Down in the dirty tonight, you got the Pirates and the Braves. Gossman on the mound for the Braves. Musgrove for the Pirates. Minus 152 on the Braves. The total sits at 9.5.
Yeah, so best bet today for me is the over in this game.
Nice.
So the last 2 games for Gausman, he's gotten absolutely shelled. He gave up 7 and 8 runs, in his last 2 starts. Musgrove has not been good lately either. His last 5 have been 8 runs, 3 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs, 3 runs for him. So, I mean, you're expecting a lot of runs to be scored in this game. Pittsburgh has one of the weaker bullpens in the entire league. So even if you get some runs on Musgrove, you're still going to have a chance to kind of push it forward when you get into that bullpen as well. Again, I don't have a lean one way or the other on who wins this game. I would assume if I had to bet, gun to my head, I would take Atlanta. But the thing I like most in this game is the over on runs because I definitely think this is going to be a game where at least one, if not both of these pitchers get lit up.
Mike Minor and Chris Sale in Boston tonight. Red Sox and the Rangers. Red Sox minus 250. The total is 8. Once again, rain could be a factor. Yeah,
I don't want to mess with the total because Sale could completely shut them down, and Minor's actually been decent too. I don't really want to mess with the Red Sox at minus 250. So when I was looking at this game, the thing that kind of makes the most sense to me is the K prop on Chris Sale. Mm-hmm. Chris Sale's K prop is high. It's 9.5, and it's 9.5 for minus 112. But when you start digging into Chris Sale lately, this is a guy who's had 10 strikeouts or more in 7 of his last 9 games. And the 2 games that he missed, one of them I know he had like 8 strikeouts. So he was right there on this number, you know. I don't think it's crazy. The guy that has been over this number in like 80% of his recent starts, 10 strikeouts is there. Now, the Rangers don't have as big a strikeout rate right now as they usually do.
Yeah.
Because like you usually have guys like Joey Gallo, who's like a 30% strikeout rate. Those guys are out of the lineup, and you have guys like a Hunter Pence in there. And Hunter Pence does not have the power Joey Gallo does. He's not the player that Joey Gallo is. But Hunter Pence is more of like a professional type hitter where he's gonna work the count. He's not gonna strike out as much. He doesn't have the power, but he's gonna put the ball in play. So the strikeout rate is a little bit lower for the Rangers than it normally is, but I still think 9.5 is a good number here for Sale. So my favorite bet on this is Chris Sale over on the 9.5K prop.
All right, there you go right there. That's a big number right there. But if Benny like it, I love it. The Nats and the Nats and the White Sox on the south side tonight. Sanchez and Despaigne. Chicago's +1. The Nats are -156, 10.5 the total on this one.
Wait, who's pitching?
That's I don't know.
Despaigne? Yeah, Despaigne.
Yeah.
And who's on the other side?
Sanchez.
Why did I think Giolito was pitching today? All right, I got to look at that one again because I actually had Giolito listed as a pitcher today, so that's going to change things. So I'll have to look at that one again. So for now, I have no opinion on that game.
There you go right there. The Cubs and the Rockies, 11 is the total. The Rockies are -130 versus Yu Darvish.
Yeah, again, you got two decent pitchers on the mound, right? Like I like Marquez, and Yu Darvish is not bad either. The problem is the game's in Coors.
Yeah.
So, when you have a game in Coors, we've seen we've seen really good pitchers get lit up. We've seen them actually pitch decent games. Again, I wouldn't use either one of these guys in Coors for DFS, but this is one that I'm just kind of shying away from. I could see either one of these teams putting up a big number. I could see either one of these pitchers pitching well or getting lit up. I just have no lean in a Coors game. 11's a big number with two good pitchers on the mound. It's not something I really want to mess with. Nothing in this game really stands out to me as something I want to be on.
No bet. The final game, the Dodgers and the Angels, Canning and Ryu. The Dodgers are -164 as they are in Anaheim. The total on this one is 9.
Yeah, I actually like the Dodgers in this one. I'm a big fan of Ryu. He's been pitching really well. The other kid is like a young starter. He's actually not been horrendous.
Yeah.
But again, I against that Dodgers lineup, that's a lineup that's very potent. It's not one that you really want to mess with. There could be some runs scored in this game. Both teams are pretty good. I wouldn't play Ryu in DFS because the Angels just don't strike out. But gambling-wise, I do think the Dodgers is the side of this game I want to be on. -160 is a pretty decent number. I like it a lot better than the -190s and the -200s and 250s on teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox today.
No doubt about it. So there you go right there. Big piece of chicken for the day. I got to give it to my son as he graduates high school. Benny, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Big Papi. Hopefully he pulls through and everything's good. No, actually, I'm going to give it to all the people that were standing around in the Dominican Republic when he got shot that beat that guy's ass because that's exactly what should happen. They all deserve a big piece of chicken for, vigilante street justice.
Big Papi getting it done. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully Big Papi pulls through. For my main man, Ben Ricciardi, Corey Parson, the Fantasy Exec, we are out.